Hello and welcome to the Loose Butthole Reviews. I am your host Smokey, and joining with me as always is my co-host Spooge.
Hello.
And joining with us again is our co-host Murda and Starfish.
Hello.
Hi.
We have a special guest returning again. Omi is decided to come along again on another review.
Yay.
Hey
We didn't
guys.
scare him away.
Darn.
Gotta try harder this time.
Alright, and before we get into the review, I always have to give our 3 rules of our rating system. Our first rule is it must be a fraction of 5. 1 means we hate it, 5 means we love it. Rule number 2, if we want our money back, we give it a good old Jeff Goldblum. And rule number 3, if we all agree that it's doing the review, that it deserves a 6 out of 5, a God tier, then it will get a God tier. And today, we are reviewing Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Specific. It's
Oh
specifically
man.
Rim.
At least it's not General Atlantic, am I right?
Pacific Rim. From
From
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's interesting. Because
Hold on.
of
I had to
this-
give a little. There's a little disclaim. It came out in movie festivals before 2013 because I went to see this with a particular someone, and that could only have been in 2012. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
I
guess
guess I
somehow
always go by
saw
the,
this early.
like larger releases.
I just know the person that I saw it with. I was with them in 2012. So.
Wow.
And I wasn't with them
Maybe you
after that.
are you doing time crimes again?
Hey, I might be doing time crimes again.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. So without getting too in depth on the background here, principal photography began in 2011 in Toronto and lasted until April 2012. But there was a gap between April 2012 and July 2013 when it was released. So you definitely could have, but like that's kind of wild.
Is that what you found interesting before Smokey said that? You said you found something
No.
interesting.
No. So my interesting point here is that this film, while it starts taking place in 2013, where massive alien monsters that they call kaiju for obvious reasons start showing up. However, the actual events of this film take place in 2020, the COVID years.
Oh, we got an
Dun
allegory.
dun dun.
Yeah, so like
Nobody was so. Why was nobody
Oh.
social distancing in this movie?
yeah,
Them
well, no one was
bastards.
social distancing. Also, this could be like a total analogy for like, oh, there's gonna be this thing that's gonna come and like completely change the way that humanity lives and stuff. Like how that conspiracy theory exists of like the big like blockbuster movies tell you what's actually going on.
That's
Only in real
why.
life it's
That's why
lamer.
in the end they canceled
Yeah.
it. We could just cancel COVID.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
They
Well, I guess I learned
canceled
that
the
a while ago.
apocalypse, I hear.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
that line definitely stuck with me. I didn't know that's all you had to do was cancel the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, it only works if you're Idris Elba. He can
And
do
like
it.
at the time of that movie, like that was not
It's
such
true.
a loaded word, but I can only hear it in this age of 2023.
It was
Yeah,
at the.
post-COVID.
It was at the very weird time period where it was about to become a cultural phenomenon.
What, canceling?
What?
Yeah, it was around that time.
Oh,
period.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
on the ed. Go ahead, Omi.
No, I was just like, wait, what happened? I felt like I missed something, but now I'm back.
we're just talking about canceling.
Yeah.
back from the breach. So these kaiju come through this interdimensional portal called the breach, which is at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. And they begin attacking the coastal cities.
Did anyone when they kept
Specifically.
saying specific
That's
ocean?
right.
Did anyone when they kept saying breach hear Charlie Day screaming breach?
Yes,
Okay.
I sure did. And we should mention Charlie Day is in this film, and he's genuinely beloved and great.
Yeah, I
even
think
in this
that's
film.
probably my favorite part of the film is his like his dynamic with that dude from Torchwood. I don't know his name. I didn't do.
Oh, the other scientist
Yeah, the
guy.
other guy,
We kept
old
calling. I
Herman.
kept calling him Crispin Glover because he
Since,
looked like Crispin Glover from Charlie's Angels.
So that's
I
Burn Gorman.
thought this was going to come up a little bit sooner, but spoiler alert, Charlie Day is the only thing that I care about in this movie.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, hopping into this plot, humanity figures out a way to fight the kaiju. And so, response to these kaiju, what they do is they decide that they're going to build massive robots that are called Jaegers. And Jaegers, for any German speakers out there, that means hunters. Um,
Oh, or just for any alcohol lovers of Jägermeister.
yeah,
That means throwing up.
licorice, ice cold licorice. So through a series of fortunate events for humankind, find out that the Jaegers have to be co-piloted by two people, and they have to share a mental link.
Yeah,
And this
they
is
control. One controls the left hemisphere, one controls the right hemisphere of the brain.
which
Which
just
morality
no.
wise is not okay.
no,
It's not okay.
no, it's
morality-wise.
not. No, it is not. It's absolutely not. And they call this process of controlling the different hemispheres drifting, which is supposed to
Why
share
do
the
they
mental
ever
stress.
explain why it's called drifting? Like
No, I don't think
No.
they ever explain drifting. They do kind of like in the beginning just kind of mention that like in order to power the Jaeger it's too much for one person essentially for it. So but I don't think they ever mention why they called it drifting.
I think it's just because like the
maybe because you
whatever
gotta
the
drift
computer
into
thing
the
is
other
is
person's
the,
memories.
that, and it's called the drift too. So it's like that.
Yeah,
Maybe they're just
so like when
putting
they're
the ing on the noun.
yeah, totally. So like what Spooge is referencing is like whenever they go into that state, all of the pilots call it the drift. And I kind of like understand it like on a certain level of it being like an advanced form of meditation almost, like that's how I chose to take it, is like, when you're meditating, like, yeah, you can see these thoughts, but like you just want to let them drift by you. You don't want to focus on them, to kind of give your mind a break. um so flash forward from 2013 to 2020, humanity's got this whole Jaeger thing figured out, and we join up with brothers Yancey and Raleigh, who are piloting the American Jaeger Gypsy Danger.
These
Not
are
Jack
the worst
Taylor.
names ever.
Raleigh,
Oh yeah.
Yancey,
the most American man. You could definitely
yeah,
tell by his American accent that he is the
Raleigh
most American
Yancey.
man.
dang it, Yancey! I told you to get the Gypsy back in the garage.
Raleigh Beckett, that is a very American name.
Absolutely. um, And so they are they're defending Alaska. And this is where our story really kind of takes off. We get this big long intro of all of the different things of like humanity's triumphs and failures against these
Basically,
kaijus.
a very big exposition dump that I was having trouble following.
Yeah, it's fast and there's a lot of information, and it's it's a lot of like, here's the set and setting of everything.
Yes, there
Now,
are
how much of this
17.
information? How much of this information is actually permanent to the?
I think
the
it all
plot?
is.
I think all of it is. I think they managed to bring it around
pretty
and touch
pertinent.
on everything. Yeah, it's just a lot all at once up front.
Yeah, it's a lot all of one at once. It's a lot of names. We get 17 minutes before we even hit the title card of the movie, so it's basically kind of like a little prologue.
Yeah,
I mean, we have
it's
2
a little
hours in this. I'm not surprised that we got such a long intro.
Yeah, and I mean it's a little bit more like tell don't show, for some reason, at least for this like first little segment. However, we're with Yancey and Raleigh here, and they gotta fight a kaiju, and it does not go super good. Yancey straight up gets killed, and Raleigh manages to kill the kaiju.
Goblin
Is
shark
this
kaiju.
knife?
It's the
Is
it's
this
the
Knife
goblin
Head?
shark. Yeah,
Yeah.
Knife
Yeah,
Head.
this is Knifehead.
It's the goblin shark one.
Right.
Which I think is a cool design.
Yeah, I
liked
liked its
it.
design.
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah,
cool if it
Yeah,
was a
reminds me
suit.
of Giran a lot from Gamera.
yeah.
Real cool if
Yeah.
it was a suit.
It would be.
We're not getting suits in this type of production.
Oh yeah, I
No,
know. There is no
uh,
practical effects in this whatsoever.
That's
no,
not true.
no.
That's absolutely not true.
Good. I'm glad we have a defender.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of practical effects in this. They built I mean,
The baby.
we're gonna get there eventually, but they built the one that ate Ron Perlman later on.
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
they
shit.
they had to do the scene where the mid-credit scene.
Well, you just said there's no practical effects, so
Yeah.
One practical
Oh,
effect.
he got
I'm just
you.
checkbaiting
Oh,
you.
that's a
Yeah,
bitch.
with one practical effect. None of the none of the kaiju battles are fucking practical.
But I mean, they don't have to be.
For me, they
I don't-
do. For me, they fucking
And I-
do.
And honestly, like, though it did kind of get repetitive with like the setting of most of the fights, they did a pretty well with like mixing the like darkness and atmosphere to really like make the kaiju look really good, and like kind of hide anything that would date the effects. I didn't think this was like too dated with its effects.
I didn't think it was very dated. The
Another
movie came
problem
out
that I have-
like 10 years ago, right?
Another
Yeah,
problem-
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it just looks
you
way
wanna-
better than anything the MCU has done.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Just how many kaiju
I think it's with the
fights?
lighting a lot.
How many kaiju fights are at night?
In this movie?
Yes, in this movie. How many are at night?
Like,
Almost
aren't they all
of them.
pretty much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't think I think
they're
there's
doing that on
there's
purpose.
one that is in the daytime. When they're
in the
like going
flashback?
through.
In the
No, not
flashback?
not the flashback, because like there's one part where he is dragging. I think Gypsy Danger is dragging like a big trawling vessel through Hong Kong, and I think that's in daylight.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
yeah,
ac- that's
they're
accurate.
they're using the nighttime to cover it up.
But
It's-
I will say,
I don't
Smokey,
care
that
for
was
CGI.
not easy. Well, that wasn't easier for them because I did read that to get like the rain effect rendered on all like the mechs and stuff was just like a huge ordeal. So I don't think that they were trying to cut corners. I just think it was very atmospheric.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's a technique, right? Like, is it overused? Sure, absolutely. I think you could look at it that way. But because of them doing that, it does hold up to special effects blockbusters of this year quite
Agreed.
well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I also agree with that, and none of that bothered me of having them like fighting in the ocean in the rain, like where it was
When
dark. Sometimes I
when did
did.
Legendary Godzilla come out?
that was 2014.
2014 or 2000?
It was the next year.
Me and Omi saw that together.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
did.
not good. That's not. That's they did the same. I had the same gripe about Legendary Godzilla. All the kaiju stuff was set at night. It's not look.
Yeah,
I'm holding that
yeah.
against it.
I'm. I mean, okay, but cle- clearly they've gotten better at doing that. You know, because the later Legendary Godzilla movies have looked better, and like Kong Skull Island, I thought was done really well as far as like having the
That was a
kaiju
fun one.
fights in the daytime.
It
It was
was
really
very
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so they've clearly gotten better at doing that. But
Not
I
only
mean,
did they place some fights during Skull Island during the day, but also King Kong, the new King Kong versus Godzilla. They also finally gave us some fights during the day.
oh, definitely. But when did those movies come out, though?
After
Like,
after the
Kong-
complaints of the other movies being set
So
at night came out.
2020.
I will say that that is actually like I've seen that as a common complaint of this of Pacific Rim, of just like the darkness and the rain. That's not Smokey is not the only one complaining about that, but
I
it
mean,
didn't really bother me though.
No,
Sometimes
most of the
I don't
most
want
of
to
the
feel
fights
like
are in
I'm
the
attacking you,
ocean.
bud. I just.
oh no
No,
you can
no.
attack him if you want.
Most of the fights are in the ocean. Like we get one
see,
kaiju fight
but-
in the city.
Yeah, but,
But-
see the
Point
like,
to
that's-
another
there's a
movie
reason
in
for it.
2013 that looked better. The year that this
Yeah,
came out.
yeah.
There is no kaiju.
You know what I'm
movie
saying?
that
Because
came
at
out.
that point, like you're just like nitpicking that, you know, we only see
I'm-
the fin in Jaws.
I'm
back in the
judging this
70s.
based on how I want my kaiju movies, and I don't want my kaiju movies to be this.
I will say that Smokey is the king of CGI nitpicking. I have noticed.
I much
Yeah,
prefer
but-
practical
but
effects over CGI. I don't care
So
how
something
cheap
that
it
actually-
is.
I
But in
Something
a-
I actually
In a film like this, that's just like you can't expect that or hope for that.
depends.
Is anybody going to continue?
Oh no, I was
I
gonna
don't
let
know.
I was gonna let that linger for a while.
Yep, same. So something that I actually do think is a intelligent use of plot for the way that the fights are pretty consistently, in bays or off the coast somewhere, is that they're coming out of a breach in the Pacific Ocean. Like that
Hmm.
that is where they are coming from. And humanity living on land would want to eliminate the problem before it got to coastal cities. So like I definitely get that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
plus,
Like there's a
This-
reason
this-
for it. Like it's not just like because we're lazy. Like it's actually like a plot. Like there's a narrative behind it.
I don't know if this is just like a throwaway thought, but I felt that the size scale of the mechs and the kaiju were just so massive that if
Yeah.
they had them like fighting anywhere else, there would be no city or landscape left after they fought. So
Yeah,
I don't know if
and
they maybe
they-
try to fight them in the ocean so they don't bring it to the city, obviously.
And the sequel to this, which was like 5 years later and not a good movie, they do like big city fights and stuff, and they look bad. They don't look as good at all. And I think that's just limitations of the time, maybe.
Yeah,
they
I actually
they hadn't
I
quite
didn't
figured
know.
that out yet.
I didn't even know there was a sequel until about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, go back to not knowing that it's not good. Like just ignore it. It's real bad.
I really knew nothing about this movie at all.
Yeah, I mean, I knew a little bit of it. mainly just the direction, writer, and production person.
I
Know.
gasped when I saw that it was Guillermo del Toro at the end.
Yeah, well, that's what actually attracted me to the film when it originally came out, was that it was a Guillermo del Toro piece. Like I wanted to see what his take was on kaiju film.
I I like that. I mean, it's an homage to like kaiju mecha and like certain anime. Like
Yeah,
I think
Gunpla.
Gypsy Danger has like it is at least cousins with Tetsujin 28, right? Like it looks
Yeah.
so similar to Gigantor, and I felt a little like nod to Evangelion in there too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there was
Right,
definitely some
like
Evangelion nods going on.
yeah,
And what's the
and
one with the swords, Voltron?
yeah.
Yes.
Y'all are
Yeah,
really
Voltron.
y'all are really digging this movie a grade for me.
Oh, is this not selling you on this movie?
Oh, I gave up on selling you.
Yeah, you just making it worse.
See, what would have since we did review Matango and we learned that that was Guillermo del Toro's favorite kaiju movie. There should have been a giant mushroom man in this movie.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that
the
would've
world,
been sweet.
the Americans were ready.
No.
We're ready. We're ready now.
We're ready now. The next Kong vs Godzilla, Mushroom Man, please.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna get like too deep into the weeds with all this stuff.
We've not passed the title card yet.
Yeah. With the loss of both Smokey's interest in this film and Raleigh's brother Yancey, Raleigh decides to quit the Jaeger program.
Technically, my interest for the film hasn't even come into the picture yet. In all actuality, he still hasn't made it on
It
the
never
screen.
was.
Oh no, I love Charlie Day. I love Charlie Day in this. He did this. I will always watch it for Charlie Day. Like another movie that I'm not mentioning right now because it's contentious. But yeah, it's just sometimes there's a movie where it's like, oh, I'll at least watch it for this actor.
What
Wait,
movie?
what's
What
the
movie?
contentious movie? Yeah.
Lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
that film's so great.
it's so good. You're the only one who hates it.
Yep.
You
But that's
Unless-
okay. You're
unless
free,
Omi
you're
hates
free
it.
to have that. You're
Do you
free
hate
to have
No,
the
that.
movie?
I
Of
like
course
that
he
movie a
loves
lot.
it.
Yeah. I do.
So
This is the perfect segue. This is the perfect segue to what was the nail in the coffin for this movie. Instead of this movie, I could have fucking got an adaptation of the book by H.P. Lovecraft, At the Mountain of Fucking Madness.
That does sting. That does sting.
Yeah.
That is the biggest gut punch because not only is that like my favorite H.P. Lovecraft book of all fucking time, it was inspired by the book, the narrative of Arthur Pym from Nantucket, that was the only completed book from my favorite fucking author of all time, Edgar Allan Poe.
If
He
it makes
gets
you feel
fucked
better,
again. He gets
If
fucked
it-
again. He gets
If
fucked
it makes
over
you-
That's his life.
again.
That's his life, dude.
I was gonna say if it makes you feel better, Guillermo del Toro was very sad about that too.
I mean, he has been trying to get At the Mountain of Madness to be made again, but he's trying to get it through Netflix. that just
Well, they're
infuriates
giving him
me.
everything right now, so it could happen that way, I guess.
It could.
I don't know that H.P. Lovecraft can be adapted very well.
A
Like,
Mountain of Madness. At the Mountain of
I
Madness.
love
can.
those
I think
stories.
they
I just
can
don't
too.
know if people
At the
kind of
Mountain of
grasp
Madness,
that.
it can be. At the Mountain of Madness, it can be. It's literally just Moby Dick without the whale.
I haven't not read that one, so I can't speak on that.
In
I mean, I
fact-
think
In fact, people can say Moby Dick copied the narrative of Arthur Pym from Nantucket. People can actually state that because it came out first. and it's basically the same fucking book without the whale.
Well,
So what's the fixation of ego then?
That statement didn't make sense.
It didn't.
Welcome to our podcast about H.P. Lovecraft and how it's not Pacific Rim or specific to
Yeah.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, it's true.
I was able to get that segue in. I had to fucking do it because that's what did it for me. I was like, yeah, no, you telling me you threw away that adaptation for this? No, thank you.
I now understand what people hear when I go off on my rants about Mark Wahlberg.
Oh.
I get it now.
I mean, I think those rants would probably go over well with this group.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're good
Yeah,
people.
definitely. I'll listen to some Mark Wahlberg rants.
I mean, I'll just keep it short. It's on site if I see him.
All right.
Straight up.
Okay. So with Raleigh quitting the Jaeger program, we flash forward 5 years into the future, and the Jaeger program is quickly running out of funding. And the people in charge of all the stuff, the man, if you will, decides that they're going to build a wall, which I find ironic that 3 years later we would have someone running for U.S. presidency who was also claiming to want to build a wall. However, the wall doesn't work, and because the wall does not work, the guy that was running the Jaeger program finds Raleigh in
Wait,
Alaska.
say his full name. Say his full name.
Raleigh
Marshall-
Beckett.
No.
Oh,
Marshall
yeah,
Stacker
Marshall Daddy.
Pentecost.
Yeah, Marshall Daddy. Yeah, Marshall Daddy.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba, the People's Elba.
The people's mustache, am I right? Look at that thing.
I know. No, goodness, so striking. He finds Raleigh, and he's like, you know what? They said that we're not going to be able to do this Jaeger program anymore. You were one of our better pilots back in the day. I'm going to take you to Hong Kong, where we're still doing it. And then we finally, is this where we finally get the title card?
No, I think we've got it at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it happened like
I think it was
before
right
he went to the wall or after he went to the
Yancey's
wall.
death.
I know.
Yeah,
I
it's the
shouldn't be
beach
caring
scene,
about
right?
this,
What?
but I wonder if it was called Hong Kong in the Chinese version. I need to know.
If the movie was called Hong Kong?
No, if they even referred to Hong Kong.
Or to the city?
Because that's you can't do like that. They will take all references to anything out that China doesn't approve of out of it, and that is one of the weird censorships. You can't mention Hong Kong or anything.
Well, I don't know. At the time, I mean, this movie did better in China than it did in the U.S.
So yeah,
I mean, I could see them like editing that out and then it doing better because
But
of
this
that,
was
maybe.
This was before the initial like huge riots, so I mean I know
Yeah,
that Hong Kong
that's
could be
why
a
I'm
little bit
curious.
controversial because it's white China, but I don't know if they were as much about censoring its existence yet, like they would like with Taiwan yet.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
that is why I'm curious if it was being censored out of it at this time, or not.
You have to watch the Chinese version.
I guess so.
Yeah, I don't think that there is a like huge like censorship for calling it Hong Kong, at least at this like period in time. Like I mean I understand like kind of why it exists and stuff, but like it's not the like others mentioned, like the big riots and stuff like hadn't happened just yet. So I think they were kind of okay with it being called that
Or
because like
honestly, I'll say protests more than riots. Justified protests.
yeah, absolutely. But even still, like I don't see like why they would necessarily like censor that at this time, at least like on a cursory, Google search and stuff. Like
Because
nothing's really like popping back up for that.
I don't want to put them on black, but their censorship is fucking obscene.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Especially in as
You
of
can't even
today, absolutely.
You can't even have skeletons in your shit. I mean,
That's a little weird.
yeah, you can't have
It's
skeletons.
about the
I mean,
ghosts. It's
you
about
have
ghosts.
to-
Yeah, the ghosts are taboo
There's a lot I
in
don't
Chinese media.
understand about all of that.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, if a demon looks a particular way, they have to heavily edit the demon looking that way and shit like that. It's very weird. It's very nitpicky at times too.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. I mean, even just kind of like looking at this, like there's like some CBC stuff that wants to talk about how Pacific Rim's a U.S. propaganda film, quoting the Chinese military saying that, but like when was this written? Oh, it was written in August of 2013. Um, so like I mean I don't know, like their interpretation of it can be that, like, certainly, but I also think that may be reading into it a little much. I'm not really sure. Specifically because we'll get into like kind of how the characters act and stuff like later on, and things of that nature. Anyways, Raleigh gets recruited by, if Murda wants to give me the full name of the People's Elba again.
Marshall Stacker Pentecost.
And they roll up into
It's my
Hong
safe
Kong.
word.
Pentecost?
Don't tell everyone.
No, the
Oh,
whole
wait, no,
thing.
you do want to
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows it.
Well, I haven't felt safe in a while, so it works.
Okay, I understand. So they roll up. Raleigh is quickly introduced to the lady of the film, Mako Mori, um, and we find out later that like her and Pentecost have this whole background and stuff. We also meet 4 other Jaegers and Jaeger teams. Um, there is the refurbished Gypsy Danger, who is currently trying to find its pilots. The Russian Chemo Alpha, which is piloted by, I think, Spooge's favorite characters in the film. Not sure.
Who? The Russian
The
guys?
Russians. Yeah.
Their hair.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were watching this, me and Spooge were on the couch, and just like they introduced the Russians last, and they're just ridiculous looking.
And we like never see them until like they fight later and die.
Yeah, pretty
The most
much.
interesting of the Jaegers, I think.
Yeah. There is also the Chinese Jaeger Crimson Typhoon, which, what a name. And the Australian, who is called Striker Eureka.
What is it called?
Striker Eureka.
Oh, Striker Eureka. And did you say the name of the Russian mech?
Yeah, it's
it
Chemo
totally-
Alpha.
No, Cherno, like Chernobyl.
Oh, it is Cherno. It is Cherno. I read the R and the N is an M.
It
In
totally
Chernobog,
should
I
be
think.
urethra.
I ain't got a narrow urethra.
It totally should
Oh,
be urethra.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
That's in the
Any-
Chinese version.
Yeah, it definitely is. Give us the Chinese cut, damn it. And so the Australian one is piloted by a father and son team, Herc and Chuck Hansen. And I'm only mentioning that because they are somewhat a side character / main character, like collectively. And so right now trying to figure out pilots for the Gypsy, and so Raleigh does a whole bunch of like different tryouts and stuff with like a whole bunch of like different people, like all these one-on-one combats and stuff, and this culminates in Raleigh and Mako like doing like this like really like intense like staff battle, and then after that he's like, oh yeah, she's my co-pilot, and absolutely, Marshall, what's the middle name?
Stacker.
Stacker Pentecost is not down with that. And they kind of both Raleigh and Mako kind of bend his arm a little bit. Eventually, get to have both of them in the Gypsy Danger together,
Hey, we skipped.
and they go into
We have skipped a scene. We have skipped the fight scene that they do. That Del
Oh, yeah.
Toro, Del Toro is said that it was supposed to be like their sex scene in production.
No, we didn't skip that.
I mentioned it.
The-
The staff
the fun-
fighting scene.
Well, we skipped over it.
mentioned
We
that.
didn't. We didn't. Did you mention the fact that Del Toro filmed it like it was supposed to be their initial sex scene?
No, but you can talk about that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could tell that their entire romance was kind of based upon this scene. I didn't,
Yeah,
I didn't
Del
buy
Toro-
this romance. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
I didn't
same.
buy it either. But yeah, this was supposed to be shot like a sex scene. Del Toro said in his little interviews that he's done.
Yeah, I could
That's
see that.
interesting. I guess I just didn't even really look at it as a romance. That didn't come
Nah.
across to me.
I mean,
Like
I got
in the-
that as
like
soon
in the
as he
whole-
took his shirt
That's how-
off.
In the whole movie or just this scene?
Like in general, yeah, I guess in the whole movie, were they supposed to be?
Yeah, they,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do
There's
have
a
a
lot of
moment at the
sexual
end.
tension. Yeah, there's a lot of sexual tension between them.
Do they kiss at the end? Or
Do they kiss
just,
at the
like-
end?
I think
They
they just
don't
No.
kiss at the
No,
end.
they do
do
not.
like a
hug.
head.
They do not.
They do like a head together. They do a head melding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like heads together in a hug.
Yeah, and like also just like we know what you're trying to craft here. Just let it happen. Like it just felt like weird and had all these weird like constraints and stuff like on it, and that's why like I didn't really buy it like at all.
I think there's
But
also like, was there supposed to be like also maybe a sibling thing they were going for? Maybe we are reading into a romantic thing into it, but then Guillermo
So.
says that he filmed it like a sex scene, so it's weird.
I
Yeah, I
think
know he
Well,
romance
that-
was
lost
on
his
his
brother,
mind.
so
Yeah.
She
That
checks him
part
out.
doesn't. That's not super surprising because they've done that in comics before. Like Frank Miller famously did that for like Daredevil and Elektra, kind of thing. And Del Toro's a huge nerd, so he probably saw it and said, "Might be onto something."
oh, absolutely, he did.
Yeah,
when they're going
but
to their room, when they're going to their room, she legitly checks him out. Like they
Oh
make
yeah, there's like
sure-
a few.
yeah, she like lingers a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
scenes of her
Okay.
like looking at his body.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a good chunk of those.
so no,
Wait.
I didn't get a sibling vibe, but
I mean,
maybe
I got
somebody,
a certain I got a specific
I was gonna
sibling vibe.
maybe somebody's getting stuck in the washing machine.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
some
no,
I think it's,
Step
it's
Jaeger.
probably because Raleigh
Stuck in the
Raleigh's
Jaeger.
probably the worst at like when you just like kind of focus only on him, then you wouldn't think there would be anything romantic because he definitely doesn't show really any interest in her.
Oh no, he does not. He shows.
he
he
showed more
shows,
interest in
"Hey,
his blood
my-
brother than he did
Yeah.
Maka.
Yeah, exactly.
Maka.
I was about to say, my brother died. My blood brother died. Brr. But that's cool. I did not realize that Del Toro had mentioned that specifically for that scene. And that is the staff culmination fight after he had kind of the way that it was shot is kind of like a montage before, so it's kind of like he tried to like battling literally everyone else on the base, and then like the only person that was his equal was Mako. But then old Marshall Daddy Pentecost was not down for it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got more sexual tension from Raleigh and the little Australian.
The Australian
the
guy?
son.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
His
those
name
two
is
want each
Chuck.
other.
Chuck Hansen.
He's a little Australian for the rest of this.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. I'll remember that better.
I
Yeah.
also propose that we drink every time we say specific.
I don't know how many times we've specifically said that though.
Keep saying specifically.
At least 5. I've got my tea next to me because
I definitely.
I'm a
not
tired
putting-
adult.
It's to the point where I'm not putting a counter because it'd be too much.
I mean, we started out real hot with specific rims. So.
Yeah, we did. We sure did. So specifically, Mako and Raleigh hop into the Gypsy and they try their first drifting or drift or however you want to take it. It's kind of like Vulcan mind merge a little bit, but like used to control a gigantonormous robot that can destroy things. And it does not go well. So Mako falls into her memory of a kaiju attack on Tokyo, and she kind of freaks out. We should also mention that Raleigh had told her like more than a couple times that like when you're in the drift, like do not focus on anything. Like you'll be able to see all my memories. I will be able to see all your memories. Like just kind of let them drift by, so to speak. Because if you focus on something, you'll get lost. And so she does, and it's the kaiju attack on Tokyo, where she almost gets killed, specifically by the Lobstrosities, which if you've read The Dark Tower, this is kind of what I imagine the Lobstrosities look like, but just smaller.
Oh yeah, that kaiju was instantly
that's-
called Lobstrosity in my head.
I like that comparison. That's what I'm going to think of now when I reread The Dark Tower again.
Yeah, oh yeah, I need to reread that one. It's that time of year I should read it. But yeah, it's kind of a crab, lobster, shellfish kind of looking thing. But it's real fast and it's gigantic and it's just kind of chasing
We're in
her
the
all
flashback,
over Tokyo.
right? We're in the flashback now,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yes.
And so Mako's, in this memory, and Raleigh is with her, and she is like wants to defend herself, like her child mind wants to defend herself. So it brings up the plasma cannon of the Gypsy Danger, and it starts charging up, and it's just aiming straight ahead while they're still inside the fort. And people are like, oh, she's gonna lose it, like this, we should have never done this, and like all this stuff. And she almost gets it off, but luckily the power is pulled at the very last second, and so the fort does not get blown up. However, Marshall Stacker Pentecost grounds Mako from then on to not pilot the Gypsy Danger.
There's a bit of a plot hole here. If Gypsy Danger was nuclear and mechanical, unplugging it would not have done jack shit.
Yeah, specifically analog, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have
I
done,
know.
So
That saves
little,
that saves them later, but
little
but in
pothole
this
here.
occasion, it doesn't matter. And while this is going on, we have the two scientist bros, one of which is Charlie Day. The other is Burn Gorman,
Not Crispin Glover.
And this is
not
when
Crispin Glover.
finally, when Charlie Day finally comes onto this is when I'm like, okay, I'm sticking around. I
Yeah,
can see where this is going.
Charlie Day is absolutely playing the mailroom character. If you're familiar with It's Always Sunny, and he is connecting all of these pieces of string into how these kaiju's organs function. Except in this one, he's actually coherent and intelligent, but still with that same like frantic comedy energy that Charlie Day is kind of known for. To which Burn Gorman plays a pretty good straight man too, honestly.
Yeah, I really like the like subtle design of these two characters. Like I like that Charlie Day is kind of like a punk rock scientist in a way, as the kaiju sleeves and the leather jacket over his
Lab coat.
shirt and tie, you know, and the other guy's just fed up with his bullshit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which Charlie Day, it says that he was like directly casted because of his performance in Always Sunny.
Oh hell yeah! That means whoever casted this was like, oh yeah, just play this character, but like, bump the intelligence up a couple of notches. You're good. Anyways, oh sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was saying that I feel like Guillermo del Toro probably is a big fan of Always Sunny.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of those shows. It's like Arrested Development. It's something everyone should watch. You know,
You should
like
direct
it's
an
just it's
episode.
good.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love that. I would love it if he like plunged the mindscape of Dennis specifically. I think he would do a good job with the concepts inside of Dennis's mind.
And it's all in Spanish.
Yep, absolutely.
I have
I'd
to
still.
disagree.
I mean,
I
watch it.
unfortunately have to disagree with that statement, Starfish, because I'm the only one that can finish Dennis's story outright. Nobody else is gonna finish it right. Nobody.
Okay.
I'm gonna just spoil it for everybody. Dennis's ending is going to suck in Always Sunny. They are not going to do it right.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's too much framework around it, right? Like it's all over the place.
Not just that. I don't think that after watching their podcast and anything, this is a little rant, but I don't think they want Dennis to be a serial killer.
I mean, they heavily imply. There's like some episodes where it's pretty much implied that he's a fucking serial killer.
He has admitted in the most recent fucking he's literally admitted to killing his wife in the most recent season.
Maureen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maureen.
He slipped up.
Maureen.
He slipped up.
Oh man. Well, speaking of slipping up, that is also what Charlie Day does here, because he slips up and he drifts with the kaiju's half alive, half dead brain.
Some would say slipping up. I'd say he found the most euphoric trip that you could possibly have, because it seemed to have took him to a place. I want to go to that place.
The rest of humanity be damned.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, you know what I always say. We've had a good run. You know, we've done our thing. We've had a pretty good run.
Yeah, I'm not standing in the way of anyone's high. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so he discovers a bunch of things, how there's actually these smaller ones, maybe, he's not sure. They don't actually they're not like, they're in a different dimension and stuff, but like the breach is like specifically set up in a certain way that like can let the kaijus through. He's not really quite sure of the reason.
They don't ever give it in the movie, but production notes do confirm they are aliens. That the little dudes that we see in the other dimension, it is a completely different dimension. It's not Agartha. specifically made sure to separate it from Agartha, which little.
That's disappointing.
Yeah,
I would
very
rather them
disappointing.
kept it vague so that I could assume that it was
But
Agartha based on its location.
They're supposed to be interdimensional aliens, and I was right. They're organic machines.
Okay, cool. And so, Charlie Day doesn't know all of this quite yet. He's not really quite sure what he says. He tries to explain it to Marshall Daddy, and Marshall Daddy wants to know more and more. However,
Is this the conversation about the dinosaurs that was very hotly debated in our group?
yes, it is. It sure is. Because I completely misunderstood what was being said. However, Spooge, and his, superior command of the verbal word, ousted me.
So you thought that they were saying that these kaiju were the dinosaurs. Is that correct?
So, yes. So what I took Charlie's words to mean was that the kaiju were originally the dinosaurs. However, because the atmosphere wasn't very good, they weren't able to actually colonize things. However, upon rewatching that scene and discussing it pretty heatedly for quite some time, no, they sent the kaiju over through the breach that had been there even during the dinosaur times, and they were like, "Oh no, these dinosaurs are too strong. Nah, we ain't gonna deal with that."
I thought it was about the atmosphere being too strong,
It was.
not the
I mean,
dinosaurs.
Oh yeah,
It
or
was
that.
the
I don't know. I'm wrong. That's all I know is that I'm wrong.
I think it was implied that when they came over during the age of the dinosaurs, that they were the cause of the extinction of the dinosaurs, but they didn't stick around because of the atmosphere.
Yeah. Thank
Is
you,
this-
Spooge.
Thanks,
Omi,
Spooge. See,
is
Spooge
this-
knows.
I mean, do you have thoughts about this? Because I feel like we all think different things.
Yeah, now I don't know what to think.
Did you? Oh wait, hold on. Before you
What
you
was
say,
your
did you think
original?
my thoughts or did you think Spooge's thoughts?
No, I was more along the lines with Spooge for sure.
Oh damn it!
Sorry, man. But now I'm reading up and stuff. I'm just wait, did I miss something here? Hang on.
This is also where I learned that there's a theory that dinosaurs had two brains, and Spooge also explained that to me.
Yeah, specifically
yeah,
with
that was-
the Brontosaurus, the very large ones, but they said it would be impossible for such a small brain to be able to send signals all across the body,
Which,
for all the
I mean,
nerves.
hypothetically speaking, yeah, theoretically, that they're on point with that.
I guess I just didn't even know that was ever a theory.
It's an outdated one. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
it's
one
very
made.
outdated, but I thought that was the accepted norm for a while. That's what I was taught when I first was introduced was dinosaurs.
Yeah, it was
that
an
they had two
accepted thing, I
brains.
think. And-
Oh,
But
I didn't go to the same dinosaur class that you guys went to.
No.
I've been to a
Either.
museum.
I was sick that day.
This movie belongs in a museum. Anyways, so finding out all of these things, Pentecost tells Charlie Day, scientist, to go
Newton?
find. Yep, it's Newton. Tells Newton to go find a black market dealer named Hannibal Chow, in order to find another kaiju brain so that he can drift with it, so that he can learn more about the enemy to mankind. However, so first, he rolls up there, and we find out who Hannibal Chow is. It's Ron Perlman.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty great. Pretty
Wait,
great.
Wearing
Pretty goofy.
the best suit.
Yeah, and I
Like,
could have
Yeah, pretty much.
I could have
Pretty
just
much.
only looked at a list of character names in this movie and known that Ron Perlman was going to play Hannibal Chow.
But this is definitely one of the movies that Ron Perlman did, just because he wanted to do it. But
Well,
he
isn't
did
he
it.
buddy buddy with Guillermo?
Yeah.
yeah,
definitely.
like he
Yeah,
uses
yeah,
them
he
in
is.
everything.
Yeah.
But he definitely
I've
wasn't
seen
giving.
Kronos.
Wasn't giving his ace performance in this. I can say that for sure.
I
I
am
thought he did a good job.
I'm that person who's just like a Ron Perlman, like you could do whatever performance you want. I'm down with it. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
good.
I didn't
Nicholas
think it was
Cage-esque.
bad. I
I
mean,
never
it's
like-
just
I
like
never
cheesy, right?
dislike 'em. I never dislike it. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, it was
Just-
definitely cheesy
yeah,
for sure.
It was
Yeah,
one
I
of his
felt it.
lower performances, though. It was one of the
Alright.
performances that I'm
He's
just
done a
like,
lot of movies.
He does. He has. That. I mean, he's got a lot of credits.
I mean, as
So-
he said, he does a lot of movies because his then wife likes shoes a lot. So he takes whatever role.
Awesome.
Which Ron Perlman actually kept the shoes from this movie, and his then wife made them shoes for herself.
Oh shit.
I think
Uh,
they just
I-
got.
we
I
should-
think they
we should
just got
mention-
divorced. So I don't.
Aw.
I guess not.
Oh.
What? Yeah, it
I-
made me sad. They had a long
I-
marriage.
Relationship built on shoes.
Yeah, clearly.
Apparently.
I wanna
In
know
Hannibal
if
Chow.
he's the one that put the mid-credit scene in, then if he's the one, like, oh, let's talk about my shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, speaking of Hannibal Chow, and that's something that actually I'd like to take just a second here. All of the designs, like the visual designs, for both the Jaegers, the suits that they wear inside the Jaegers, and how they're all different, and the interiors are all different. Visually, this film is very entertaining. Like the designs of things, as to be expected of a Del Toro film, are awesome to look at. Like I know that like there is a point of contention with the suits and no suits, with kaijus. However, like taking
This
that
also is a
aside,
good-
like the
this is a
designs of
good-
them are really good.
This is a good moment for me to mention as well for the CGI. Another down point. Sometimes the CGI gets Spy Kids 3D level bad for me. Like it strongly resembles that kind of CGI, so it's like, oof, that's not looking good.
I don't know, man. I think that's a little harsh. Have you seen Spy Kids 3D?
Yeah, yeah.
Recently,
I mean, like, I would say that for like the last Ant-Man movie, but I thought they did a pretty good job with most of the
Last
stuff
Ant-Man
in
movie
this.
CGI is worse than that, man.
I didn't have a problem with the CGI in this movie, really, like at all.
It
But
wasn't, it wasn't consistently bad, but it did dip. The quality would dip to that level, especially when they were doing their suit. When for some reason it was very obvious that they were wearing a practical suit for their armor in the cockpit, but they would still CGI over it for some fucking reason. That was blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the person who's the best judge because CGI very rarely bothers me, even if it's bad. It doesn't take me out of movies unless it's just horrendous.
Unless it's the Flash.
I didn't see The Flash,
Oh.
so
What?
I don't know.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like I would have a hard time
That
just
shouldn't even
watching
be
Ezra
counted as
Miller.
CGI.
I don't know.
That was some of the worst special effects I've ever seen in anything.
The special effects in CGI looks worse than our avatars that we have in The Flash. It's that bad. Our avatars look better.
yay! I'm glad ours look better. So Newton's having this meeting with Hannibal Chow, and that is when an attack is about to happen. Newton's scientist friend, Bern Gorman. His name in the
Gottlieb.
film is Gottlieb. He had a theory that gets pushed to the side very quickly, that more and more kaijus would slowly start coming out of the breach. And this is where we actually do have 2 kaijus rolling up at the same time. Hannibal Chow is like, you know what? Get out of here. Like, screw you, pretty much. Like, if you want a brain to like drift with or whatever, like that's cool. But like, we're getting attacked now, so I'm gonna go to my shelter, and you can go to a public one. And then he like takes off his like cool, like very deep, like wraparound sort of goggle things or whatever, and he's got like this huge like cut through like one of his eyes. Just cool scene. But so he shuffles along, gets pushed into one, and Newton starts having a smart boy realization that since he's drifted with them, the kaiju might have hive minded with him and know where he is. Meanwhile, all of the Jaegers, except for Gypsy Danger, are dispatched to fight the 2 kaiju that have
Now,
shown up.
why would the kaiju that just came out of the breach know where Charlie Day character is if he melded with a kaiju that was already defeated?
I think they have
Because they have a hive
mindset.
mind. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's like their consciousness goes to a central CPU unit afterwards.
Yeah, and like we can kind of surmise that even though that they look varyingly different, they're still kind of like a similar. They definitely look like they're at least from the same place, like just in like how they're
Yeah, they're definitely
how they're
made from the
designed.
same
It looks like they're all
material.
related. Yeah, so they're definitely like it's definitely some like ant termite thing. Maybe they're just like giant like warrior ants to like these little like alien creatures,
Which
or
we're
as
getting-
you said, like biological machines, as you said.
Yes.
Speaking of Dark Tower,
Yeah.
I won't elaborate.
Nope. If you want to know what Murda is mentioning, or if you care to read about the Lobstrosities, please read the Dark Tower series. It's excellent.
I second that. It's very good.
So back in Hong Kong, these Jaegers are being dispatched. The two kaijus that have come out, one of them is called Leatherback, and the other one is called Atashi. And it goes bad.
Which I did.
Pretty much from
If
the drop.
if you're gonna call a kaiju leatherback, I want them to look more turtle-like.
It totally should have been drop. It should have been Drop Bear. Just how it enters the fight is exactly what a Drop Bear would do. It's exactly what a Drop Bear would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Did he
that
drop onto the Australian one?
I mean, technically it jumped onto it, but if we're going on the perspective of the breach, then yeah, it did.
Yeah, so really quickly, the Crimson Typhoon is leading the charge with Cherno Alpha in the back and Striker Eureka guarding the coastline. Crimson Typhoon and Cherno Alpha are advancing, and Itachi just straight destroys Crimson Typhoon very quickly. Cherno Alpha rushes to their aid, which turns out to be futile because the Drop Bear goes and Drop Bears all over that Russian Jaeger.
Yeah, they spray it with the acid, which wasn't like a trait that the kaiju had before. So I'm guessing that they're presenting that
The Drop
they're
Bear doesn't
quickly
do that.
evolving.
The Drop Bear doesn't spray the acid. The Drop Bear.
Well,
does the EMP blast.
whichever one sprays the acid. One
There's
of them
two
sprays the
kaijus
acid.
going on right now.
I understand this. I said whichever one
I'm
sprayed
just
the acid
clarifying-
onto the Cherno.
Clarifying for the audience, because it does seem like we forgot about the other kaiju.
We've been naming both of them.
The Otachi, which can spray the acid, destroys the Crimson Typhoon very quickly, which then causes the Russian Jaeger to charge forward. And that is when the Drop Bear does its Drop Bear thing all over the Cherno Alpha. And this is where Striker Eureka, which is the most advanced of the Jaegers, is like going up and putting on a good fight. However, the Striker Eureka gets hit with an EMP blast from the Drop Bear, which injures Herc. I know
Did
we
I
haven't like
mention-
super mentioned him, but he's Daddy Australia. He's not Little Australia.
Did I mention the Drop Bear was my favorite kaiju of the movie? I don't think I did.
No.
But if I
No.
haven't, there you go. It's my favorite. It's the only kaiju that I cared about.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool one. So while Striker Eureka is kind of dealing with the Drop Bear, the Itachi one is actively seeking out Newton. Newton realizes this. It keeps getting closer and closer, and we get the EMP blast. Striker Eureka goes down. And Herc and Chuck, the father and son Australian team, start working on hatching a plan, realizing that all of the digital Jaegers that have like a digital power source, I guess. I don't know. The terminology is pretty fast and loose here. But they can't work because of the EMP blast. However, the nuclear powered Gypsy Danger is able to still function. So against Marshall Stryker Pentecost's better judgment, mayhap,
Which
he decides to send out the
plot
Gypsy
hole
Danger.
Should be very glaring now. The power is gone. An EMP, an electric magnetic pulse has eliminated the power source. How in the fuck did unplugging Gypsy depower it? How the fuck?
Maybe they hadn't booted up the nuclear reactor and they just like were running on external power as they were
They were
testing
running
it.
on this
I mean,
digital power.
yeah, they're running on ones and zero power as opposed to like hex power. They
They're
could
running
have been
on-
running on hex, but they're
they're-
like, nah.
They're running
We'll
on
run
the
on
power
binary.
of friendship. Okay.
Yeah, pretty
You
much.
stole the words
Everybody that's
right
in
out of my mouth. I was just about to say
It
it.
was the heart of the cards, the power of friendship.
And the nuclear reactor, you ain't having no more kids if you piloting Gypsy Danger. That is.
I'm sure that's exactly what Beckett Raleigh was thinking. It was just
Yeah.
like, oh man, no more kids.
Yeah, and I just
They-
met this awesome lady from Hong Kong or from Tokyo.
Yeah, I may or may not have a romantic relationship with it. It's unclear.
They definitely ain't having
But
kids.
I was thinking about maybe doing it.
I mean, the
Um,
nuclear reactor is right under them. That is not safe for any kind of generals to be that close. It's not.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right, and we'll find out about that we'll find out about that relatively quickly here. So Gypsy Danger gets sent out, and it makes a pretty quick work of Otachi, which is in the city, thus saving Newton, and Newton being so close to it, Hannibal rolls up to the Otachi. We also get a pretty awesome showdown between Leatherback, the Drop Bear, and Gypsy. And it's pretty intense and stuff. However, going forward with this. While Newton and Hannibal are checking out Otachi's corpse, they're trying to receive the second brain that's in it. However, the team that's inside of the Otachi discovers that Otachi is a she and she is pregnant.
During this scene, I didn't know if it was going to be a pregnancy discovery or a fart joke.
Just because of the way that the
Like its guts rumbling, and like I could have seen it like being a fart joke, because sometimes I don't know. I guess this movie doesn't have a lot of jokes, but like it seemed fitting.
That is a very missed opportunity. It would have got another point. It would have got another point if they did that. Damn it. That would have been so good. They was inside of it too. Oh, dude, you could have even did it to where it was like so forceful it pushed them out. Man,
That's kind of what I was thinking.
That probably would have got a lot of like other types of fans for this film.
Are you kidding me? That would have got the Oscar.
Oh yeah.
So yes, unfortunately, it is not a fart joke. But it is a pregnancy. An infant kaiju bursts out of her, and Hannibal and Newton proceed to run away. The infant is choking on its own umbilical cord, which is kind of interesting, considering that like they're largely kind of reptilian-ish looking. But whatever. I'm not gonna get into like the
This
hardcore
isn't-
details
hold-
of that.
I just realized another plot hole. The interdimensional aliens were building the original. Like, it's very clear that they never say it in the movie, but they are constructing them. So have they designed them to now where they get pregnant? Is that a new feature that they added?
Maybe.
Is it a life finds a way scenario?
Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it's like how
Jeff
aphids
Goldblum.
are. Maybe it's like how aphids and some like fleas and stuff are like born pregnant.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kind
it
of
could be
disturbing.
that. Could be that
That would be
too.
upset. That'd be very upsetting.
That is upsetting.
And so they can repopulate. You know, they can start really shooting out the numbers real quick, just by one.
Wow. Everyone's
The more
going
you-
home with a new disturbing fact.
Yeah, right.
The more you know.
And so of course Ron Perlman, Hannibal Chow is gonna be the kaiju bursts out, and it gets caught on its own umbilical cord and chokes. And Hannibal's making a big deal about it, of like, of course, like I knew it would stop there. I
I
knew it would
wasn't
choke on its
scared.
umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course not. I'm a big tough guy. Look at me. I'm Ron Perlman. I got fly shoes and a butterfly knife. Be a scared. To which, like, in its dying, like, last gasp, eats him, devouring him whole. And that is when Herman Gottlieb, so Gottlieb's got a first name. They he comes to Newton's aid, and they decide that they're going to drift with this very fresh infant's brain. And that is where they learn of the final attack, as well as discovering that the breach only opens in the presence of a kaiju's DNA. So the DNA is kind of, I think the way they described it was like a barcode at a supermarket, something like that. So finding this out, they rush back to the Hong Kong fortress. This is where we have a heart-to-heart between Raleigh and Pentecost, as well as a very small, very mad Australian man. Because both him and his dad like almost lost it, and he's not really like stoked about Mako and Raleigh, operating the gypsy and stuff, and it becomes this whole like real hardcore drama sequence out of nowhere, and the main point of this is to show that Marshall Stryker Pentecost is dying of radiation poisoning due to piloting the very first generations of Jaegers, which allowed him to save the young Mako, and he is her adoptive father after that attack.
Is this the scene where we get the flashback and then we see Pentecost like standing heroically?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
this
think so.
scene, I died laughing. I don't think it was supposed to be funny. But it was really funny to me, just the way it was presented. I don't know if that was anybody else.
I think it was supposed to be like through her eyes, right? Is that why like he kind of had the
Yeah.
hero pose?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
He looked like All
Absolutely.
Might, you know?
Yeah, he was totally All Might in that scene. But yeah, so we find out that like yes, Smokey is correct. Those first generations of Jaegers, they did not have hardly any nuclear shielding on them. They're standing above a nuclear reactor, and Pentecost essentially found out that should he ever pilot one again, like he will die within like weeks due to his radiation poisoning. And this is when we get a hit off of the kaiju scanner. And it is 3 this time. These kaiju names are kind of ridiculous. One of them I feel it could be a like an expletive essentially. And then one of them's like just kind of ridiculous. Anyways, so they're like, all right, they just
What are
came
their
out-
names?
Oh, so so their names.
You can't say that and not say what the names are.
Their names are Raiju, Slattern, and the worst of all, Scunner.
Scunner. Oh yeah, Skunt.
Yeah, so yeah,
Skun-
Scunner
what are you
is
talking about? That's
just.
the best name. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's close to a lot of things.
I'm going with skunts. I'm going
Yeah.
with skunts.
Okay,
Okay.
you go ahead.
Y'all can.
I'll stick
y'all
with
can go with the
Raiju, I
other-
guess.
Yeah, y'all can stick with fucking lame ass Raiju. Fucking skunts.
No, I
is
like
the
I like
partier.
I like Skunt.
So with the remaining, and this is something that is also a glaring plot hole. They only had 4 Jaegers to operate. However, Crimson Tide is destroyed, Cherno Alpha is destroyed, Striker Eureka is ostensibly still dead, and then Gypsy Danger was functional. They found an extra one somehow, and that's the one that is going to be piloted by Pentecost and Chuck. And they are on a mission to destroy the breach with
What was
Gypsy
the
backing them up.
extra? What was the extra one? Was it like Pentecost's old Jaeger? I don't know if
I
you just said that.
guess.
Your
I think
audio
so.
got weird
Like,
for a second.
yeah,
Oh,
I
I-
think
I
it was
don't know- I
supposed to
don't
be
know.
like his old one that he saved Mako in.
Okay.
So I guess that's the one
Why
that
would
he's
they
using.
keep that one? Why would they? That one is just leaking radiation. So
For the
wherever it's
memories.
Wherever
For
it's
the
stored-
radiated memories.
wherever
Look,
it's stored,
I-
it's just like seeping radiation out into the environment.
I don't know if
Look,
you understand
I
this, but
think
I'm trying
amongst-
to improve my rontogens. Okay.
I think the takeaway from all these plot holes is that, somehow Palpatine returned, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, yeah.
They're actually trying to explain that very longly. It's fucking annoying as shit.
But yeah, so they all drop down into the middle of the Pacific Ocean where the breach is at, set on a mission to destroy it. They're rolling up on it. These three kaijus are not about to let them do what they want to do. This is also the new bigger, badder kaiju. Slattern is like the new tech for them, I guess. Um, However, it quickly becomes a not great mission. Um, Shit starts going wrong pretty quickly for the three Jaegers down there. Um, oh, yeah, they basically get like super hardcore attacked. Um, and it's not great. Gypsy kills one of them. However, its like left leg is all crippled. Um, Pentecost and Chuck sacrifice themselves, um, and Striker. I guess that was the first one.
Oh, that's the first
one that they
Jaeger?
were in. Yeah. Yeah, so that's Striker Eureka, actually, that Pentecost and Chuck are in.
Oh, I thought that was the
And
Australian one.
yeah, it is. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just
I
reading
guess
the
the
synopsis.
I got it. I guess the Australian one didn't get as damaged as we thought.
Yeah. And so this actually kills Scunner.
Skunt, you mean?
Yeah, it kills Skunt.
Them bastards. Them bastards. Skunts wasn't doing anything wrong. We was just partying, and they come around and they fuck the party up. I'm so upset.
Poor Skunt.
Just in the nick of time, Newton and Gottlieb show up as they are actively about to charge the breach and detonate a massive thermonuclear bomb, which is inside of Gypsy, and find out, oh, you can't go in there unless you have the DNA. They report this back. So Gypsy slaughters Slattern. Say that 12 times fast. And it rides its corpse into the breach. Raleigh, their Jaeger's very damaged. Raleigh ejects Mako out of the Gypsy, and she flies back out of the breach and stuff. In like her little emergency pod thing. He tries to flip the nuclear reactor, but it doesn't work. He's got to manually do it. It's very intense. And this is where we actually get to see the little like interdimensional aliens.
Which I thought they looked
really,
really cute.
yeah, they're just some cute little guys. They're just some sweet little kind of insecty, kind of lizardy looking little guys. They want our planet, and I guess we're just not cool with that.
They're not doing anything that we haven't done as humans.
Absolutely,
I
they're just
mean,
colonizing.
In our defense, it's not like they didn't try to come over and give us smallpox blankets first. Just saying, they kind of was aggressive from the start. They didn't try to take us out, with biological warfare or nothing.
Well, but you said these are biomachines, so isn't that the definition of biological warfare?
Biological warfare is using chemicals to disperse in amongst a crowded area. That using a biological machine is not the same.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm allowing it, Starfish.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So he's able to finally manually get it, and he is able to get himself into his escape pod, which kind of honestly shouldn't have happened. But he does it anyways, and he floats up to the top. Mako sees him. They report to Mako that he has no, like, he's not breathing. She performs CPR and
No,
stuff,
she
and
does
then-
not.
Or no, wait, no, she does. No, she doesn't. She does not. She just she holds him very tightly, I believe, right?
Yes. No CPR was attempted.
No CPR was attempted. And then
The-
they're like, "Oh
they
no,
got,
he's
they got
definitely
drift
gone."
magic.
The armor
Yeah,
might have.
yeah, they do.
The armor, it depend if she might have just crushed. If she attempted CPR with the armor that he had on, she might have just ended up crushing.
It's
It-
true,
it-
but like if you think they're dead, you know, you gotta try.
I mean, if she started,
which
We
ripping
gotta
the
try to
armor-
crush them.
If she started
Yeah,
ripping
try
the
to crush
armor
them.
off, if
Yeah.
she started ripping the armor off and tried to get to his bare chest, yeah, totally do that. But don't just sit there and just start pressing with the hard armor. With-
Well, she didn't
with
do
the
anything
plated
except
armor.
she didn't do
Well, she
anything
did-
except cradle his head.
Yep. And then he comes back miraculously, to which he responds to her, "I couldn't breathe," or something like that. It was very cheese filled. I don't remember the exact line, and it was ridiculous. They put their heads together in a weird, kind of awkwardy, tensiony state. They do not smooch. He pulls her in a little bit closer, and her head goes down, so they're definitely not kissing, and they hug, and that is when the rescue helicopters arrive. End of film.
Except for the mid-credit scene.
Except it wasn't. That's right, because we've got a mid-credit sequence. These cool credits roll with all this like really awesome CGI going on in the background, and it's just kind of ridiculous. And then we open on a scene of the infant kaiju that had popped out, and we see some rumblings under the skin. To then we see a knife poke out of it, slice open, and Ron Perlman shows back up, letting the fans know he's gonna be back in the next one.
And he says, "Where's my
Uh,
goddamn shoe?"
Yes.
Yep.
Omi, is he in the next one? Can
You know,
confirm?
I don't remember if he was. Charlie Day's in the next one.
Oh, goddamn
Um,
it! God damn it!
Sorry. Yeah.
We gotta watch it now. Great.
Yeah, Charlie Day's in the next one. I don't think Ron Perlman came back because it wasn't directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, fuck! Holy.
Yeah,
shit,
no,
that's
it's a
gonna be
bad
good one.
movie.
Oh, that's gonna be so bad. That's
It is called Pacific Rim Uprising, and it was released on March 15th of 2018. And it is known as a box office disappointment.
yeah.
To say the
We are
least.
definitely saving that. No, even if somebody requested it, I'm saying that now. If we are reviewing that one, we are saving it for next Kaiju month, which will be November.
So a year from now, roughly. But yeah, so that's the film. If people want to bust into the production, I feel like Omi super enjoyed this film and may have awesome takes.
I feel like I have to defend myself here
Okay.
because, like, the rest of you did not enjoy this film. So,
Yes, you must defend it as your pick because none of us ever
Yeah.
pick movies that others don't like. That never happens.
no,
Nope, never does.
Yeah, I never picked Power Rangers or anything like that for Sci-Fi Month.
wait, which one?
Turbo.
Like, tell me more. Why wasn't I invited to that one?
Well, I don't think you were. I don't
We
think
weren't
you
talking
were-
yet.
I don't think you were.
It was
Yeah, I
very
was-
early.
I was not, but I would have liked to have watched
think
Power Rangers Turbo
so
with
far-
everyone.
Since we're on that, what would be your rating for Turbo, a Power Rangers movie? This is the second one.
So it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember really liking it when it came out. But I like the cars though. I like the idea that
I liked the
They-
Hell
minivan.
yeah.
that they end up having these like little Humvee things
I think that was
that turn into
my
robots.
lowest rated film so far, though.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think I only
But
gave it a
didn't
2.
it start with like a weird like gremlin thing? Also,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
like
kind
a
of a hot
mascot.
mess. It's
Yeah.
kind of a hot
Yeah,
mess.
it's like
Well, that
the
was my favorite
ugliest
part.
character design. He's amazing.
No, he was my favorite part. He felt like a different movie.
Yeah, he was definitely the Charlie Day of that movie.
Oh.
That movie got a solid 5 for me because I love Power Rangers, and it doesn't have a CGI fight for the climax.
Oh wow. So nice segue into the VFX of this movie.
Yes.
No, I thought I mentioned it earlier that I do believe this was the best looking film of 2013 as far as like blockbuster action movies like that. And I think it still holds up really well to what we get now.
Agree.
Del Toro uses the most CG he's ever done in any like at all here, but he still implements practical effects in between and stuff. He built that little baby kaiju that eats Ron Perlman. That was a real thing. Their suits. Smokey, I think you mentioned it earlier that you could tell when the CGI was like on top of the practical suit. But I mean, that's what he does with all of his movies. Is he does practical and he uses CGI to try to enhance. And I didn't have a problem with it. It didn't take me out whatsoever. But maybe I wasn't keenly looking for something like that, whereas I think you might have been. So I'll definitely give that one to you. Yes, it's a dark movie. Everything is done, in shadow and with the rain and stuff. But again, I think that's what makes it look so good and hold up. I don't think it's done to be cheap necessarily. I think they were just trying to be clever with not being able to do some of the stuff that we're used to now, right? We mentioned Kong Skull Island and how good that looks in the day shots and stuff. I don't think they were there yet. And when you watch Pacific Rim Uprising, you realize real quick that they weren't there yet.
Man, I'm looking at the blockbuster movies of 2013. It was a rough year.
What were they?
Everybody
What were
was
some of
everybody was competing with Frozen that year, so there was no
Is that
way
the
you
year
had
Frozen?
a chance in hell. Yeah, that's the Frozen.
Or
year.
did it come out? It must have come out the year before if they're competing with it. I don't see Frozen on this list. But, I mean, we have the infamously bad The Lone Ranger, the one with Johnny Depp
that
as
is a
Tonto.
terrible movie.
We have
Oh,
Gatsby, which people liked, but maybe they shouldn't. We have after Will Smith's After Earth.
Just to confirm,
There it is.
Frozen came out November 27th of 2013. So.
Oh, okay. So they weren't yet competing. We've got Scary Movie 5.
I mean, that's an effects blockbuster if I ever saw one.
Despicable Me 2, which I guess people do like, but this is a garbage
Oh yeah, it's got
year
minions.
for movies.
Yeah,
Everybody loves the minions.
Everything was overtaken in November, and Frozen took over that fucking.
Oh
year.
yeah, Frozen is a powerhouse. So
This is Frozen's box office 1.282 billion.
oh, we have the second Star Trek, Into Darkness. Which
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
that was
think
the
I saw
bad
that
one, wasn't it? I think
I
that was
didn't
the
see
bad
it. I
one.
saw the first one, but
The first one and the third one are pretty good, I think. But
That was the worst one. The whole twist was that, oh, this is a remake of
Wrath of
Wrath of
Khan,
Khan.
right?
Khan,
Yeah,
Wrath of
yeah.
Khan,
I remember not liking that. Like, I came out of there just like, God damn it.
Benedict
Um,
Cumberbatch as Khan.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
that
think
was
I
around
even
the time
knew
where they
that
were
one.
just casting that guy in everything.
Did,
Yeah, he was a good Smog, even though that
yeah, he
movie
was
blew
great
too.
Smog.
Which
Also,
hot,
we should mention
the
too.
Desolation of Smog came out that year as well.
we have to
Nice.
mention that apparently an Atlantic Realm came out the same exact year.
Yeah, it's a mockbuster.
It's probably Asylum.
Yeah.
Is that Asylum?
It's
Yep,
scary
it's Asylum.
movie.
Yeah, it's
Scary movie, but
Or
for Pacific Rim.
That was a big
it's made to
turnaround.
trick grandmas at Blockbusters.
That is a
Yeah,
fast
pretty much.
turnaround, though. It came out the same year.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
usually
I
do,
looked
don't
into
they?
that one. Yeah, I looked
I
into
don't
that
think
one a
those.
little bit.
I don't
It
think
was
those
shot-
movies
July
take much to
1st
pump out.
And June
It was shot by-
24th. Oh my God, that was a month. Literally a month apart. So they must have told Asylum this movie was being made. There's no way they
Well,
made a movie
This
in a month.
movie had a pretty big like marketing campaign like that started the year before.
Okay.
So there was a lot. They like released videos of like kaiju attacks and like the trailer was already out. They actually made I think a comic or a graphic novel.
Yeah,
Was
they
it?
did. They
Yeah,
did. They
so
had
there's a
a
lot of
lead-up graphic
marketing
novel.
for this movie leading up to it.
You gotta
Yeah,
shadow
Guillermo really
drop
knows how
shit.
to. Yeah, Guillermo really knows how to like sell a lot of his IPs. I mean, I think even though I never watched it, I know the Strain had like one of the best like ad campaigns I've ever seen.
I
Just like
remember those.
yeah, just like with no
Yeah,
context or
yeah.
any type of like telling you what this was. It just
I
had like
remember a
rats
rat.
exploding
Yeah, I
out of
remember a
toilets.
rat one.
Mhm. I never saw the show, but I read the books, and I thought those were pretty good.
Yeah, I
could give
never
it a
actually
try
saw the
sometime.
show either. I just remember the ads for it.
So
They were effective.
Do we got any production stuff on Pacific Rim?
Yeah, I think there's a good chunk. One of the cool things that that I saw in here was that like about 100 different kaijus and 100 different Jaegers were designed, but they only used like their favorites, and they voted on them week after week to decide like which ones
Missed-
to actually use.
Missed opportunity here because I know the internet was still fresh, but they totally should have used the internet to like have the quote unquote kaiju fans be part of the movie creation. That way,
Yeah, that could have been a fun
Yeah, that
fan
would have been really
involvement.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you go, oh shit, I voted for that kaiju when he comes on the screen.
I always thought that I think it's yeah, it's Kong versus Godzilla where they have like the kaiju podcast. I always thought they should have just made that a real thing. Like a kaiju watch kind of thing, promoting them because
Yeah.
Legendary has the rights to all of these things.
Yeah,
Like
they do.
Pacific Rim, all the Godzilla stuff, the King Kong stuff. They have it all. So they could make a shared universe really.
Yeah, they could. And I think that's again kind of a missed opportunity thing too.
I need to look this up. I remember there at least being rumors online that like they're gonna like attach the Pacific Rim IP to the Cloverfield one.
Oh, that kind of makes sense too, I guess. That
I don't know if
I can
anyone
see
if
that
that's
fitting.
familiar to you or if that's just like something that I just saw like super isolated and thought like was a thing everyone was talking about.
Or you just thought it up and
Or
it
Made
was
sense in your
a
mind.
really
Yeah.
awesome idea.
yeah.
Oh, here's a cool fact. Ellen McLean, she is the voice of GLaDOS in Portal. She is the voice of the AI for Gypsy Danger.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Something else that I thought was pretty cool too was that like so this was around the time where like the 3D resurgence was happening, were like, "Come see it now in 3D and IMAX 3D."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was a
And
trend I
so
always hated.
yeah, so Del Toro did not want this film in 3D at all.
Yeah, because he wears
uh,
big ass glasses like me.
I-
He knows how uncomfortable that
Yeah.
shit is.
That
he
and
ended up
it
doing it.
didn't do it justice. Them putting it. There's so many shots of them just punching at the screen. It's so fucking annoying. It's like I know what you're doing there, but I'm not getting that effect.
Yeah, so he agreed to do it, but he had 4 conditions. One, he wanted to keep the scale. So they could be in 3D, but he really did not want any of the shooting to like overemphasize the effect and thus making them smaller because it's turning them into 3D. Also, he required that there be, if this was going to happen, the conversion needed to have a 40-week schedule in order to ensure that it would have quality to the CGI elements, and that the CGI elements be rendered natively in stereo 3D, and that he be personally allowed to supervise this conversion process.
Unfortunately, Omi must have just been right on the mark. It just wasn't the time period. The CGI wasn't there yet. It's just not there. If they just waited just a little bit longer, it could have probably been so much better than what we got. And we could have got my adaptation at the Mountains of Madness. I'm gonna bring that back up. We
So,
could have fucking got
okay,
that.
yeah, so let's bring
I
that
can't.
back
I
up
definitely
again.
don't agree with that.
Yeah, and one
Uh,
of the reasons why I want to
mhm.
bring that back up is that do you know who was set to be the star in that film, Smokey?
Oh, I know who it was.
It was Tom motherfucking Fish fucking Cruise.
Uh,
That's who was going to be the
I-
star in that
I
film.
might
I
not
would not
care.
want that.
I might not
He-
care.
he
for
belongs in
his
Ins and Outs.
personal. I might not care for his personal, and to the point where I actually get fucking actively gang stalked by his goddamn fucking religion. But as an actor, Tom Cruise, he would have fucking been perfect for At the
Disagree.
Mountains of Madness.
Oh, I haven't read that book, but I don't agree with that sentiment.
Just like CGI that you don't like takes you out of a movie, Tom Cruise's presence takes me out of a movie. Just his mere presence.
Is
I
Ins
give
and Outs
it
the
to
one
him.
with the fish people?
No, it can't be. If it is, then that makes it better, but it can't be.
You know,
Wait, are
I'm
you
just saying that-
suggesting that
that's
Tom
a different
Cruise would
one.
be a fish person?
I am not.
No, he
I
would
feel
be
like
fucking
he'd be
them.
better.
First of all, no.
Yeah, he'd be
That's what
fucking
I'm
the fish
suggesting.
people. Yeah.
It's not the fishing. No, it's not. It's not Ishmael, the fishing Hamlet one. No, it's not. I'm fucking that shit up. I'm mixing some shit up there. But no, it's not the fishing Hamlet. No, it's not. But it still would have been great. It still would have been fucking great.
Agree to disagree, I suppose.
But
But,
now that he's actually trying to get, thankfully Del Toro is still trying to get that movie made, and Tom Cruise is not going to be attached to it anymore. So as long as Netflix doesn't fucking do it, it could be even better.
yeah, and actually,
It'll be Charlie Hunnam with another weird accent.
Oh no.
something we should mention about that as well is that after like that stuff was denied, he spent a whole weekend in bed crying. Like that's how sad he was about not being able to make that film that Smokey wants so desperately, starring Tom Cruise. I just thought that was ridiculous. Like I know that we mentioned he was sad, but
Yeah,
to
I
cry
don't-
about it.
That's why I'm like, why'd you even
He's an
fucking
artist.
do it? Why'd you even do this? Why'd you have it canceled? Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? What? Tell
He
us
didn't
the
have it
reason.
canceled.
He's not the one that canceled it. He was told no by Legendary.
No,
He's
Legendary wasn't doing. He was working for Universal Pictures with that. The Legendary had nothing to do with at Monsters. It had to be Del Toro's call. It had to be.
No, it wasn't though. That's why he was so sad about it.
Yeah, that's why he cried. You
I'm-
think he wanted
Yeah.
to cry?
I
He
was
didn't
just
want to
like,
cry.
I could have swore the reason why
What?
it got canceled was because he wanted to do Pacific Rim over that, and the scheduling conflicts made it to where he could only choose one movie. So he
He
chose
cried and
Pacific
you knew it was genuine because he didn't post it on Twitter,
Rim.
like his crying
All
face.
right. On July 28th, 2010, it was reported that Del Toro would next direct an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness for Universal Studios, with James Cameron producing. When Del Toro met with Legendary Pictures to discuss the possibility of collaborating with them on a film, he was intrigued by Beachman's treatment. Still a very small pitch at this point. Del Toro struck a deal with Legendary, and the deal is as such. While directing At the Mountains of Madness, he would produce and co-write Pacific Rim. Because of the film's conflicting production schedules, he would direct Pacific Rim only if At the Mountains of Madness was canceled.
And
Wait,
Cruise-
so that's kind of
Univer-
confusing.
No, so basically he Universal and Del Toro were still in
There's more to
negotiation
that, though.
process.
There's more to
yeah,
that, though.
like so
Kid- Let Starfish keep reading.
100 yeah, go ahead, Starfish. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I thought you were done. I was confused.
I mean, I did stop. So let's see here. Tom Cruise was attached to star in the Lovecraft adaptation. On March 7th, 2011, it was reported that Universal would not proceed with At the Mountains of Madness because Del Toro was unwilling to compromise on the $150 million budget and the R rating.
And I think that's important.
The director later reflected, quote, "When it happened, this has never happened to me, but I actually cried that weekend. I don't want to sound like a puny soul, but I really was devastated. I was weeping for the movie," end quote. The project collapsed on Friday, and Del Toro then signed to direct Pacific Rim the following Monday.
So it was because they wouldn't give him the budget and the R rating.
Which,
Yeah,
So
and
he didn't think he could do it justice.
Which is good.
Right.
Which is good that he decided that. But, oh man, I give the fucking Mountains of Madness to a different studio. Fucking give it to someone else. Please don't
also,
tell me
like-
you sold it to Universal. Please don't fucking tell me that. Please don't
Also,
tell me
like-
I am waiting for Universal Pictures to make this, because they're never gonna fucking make it.
well, yeah, they own the rights to it, so
Yeah.
But
We
is
are
he
waiting for
he's trying to
Universal.
he's trying to get it made through Netflix now, so I am assuming he owns the rights to it.
no, I would imagine he's like Netflix buy this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine
don't
that's
want
probably how it.
Netflix to. I don't want Netflix to. Fucking let Hulu, if anything, let fucking Disney do it. God damn it.
Oh, no.
Over Netflix, please.
I don't know, man. I don't,
You would
I
rather
don't know.
Disney-
Netflix is more of a dice roll, but Disney, man, I don't know.
Hulu needs
At least
the
with Netflix,
originals.
every once in a while,
Hulu-
every once in a while with Netflix, you hit that D20. Like you get a
Same with
critical
Hulu.
hit every once in a while.
Same with Hulu. They got some banging originals.
Not with Disney.
I'm not
Oh.
saying put it on
You don't
Disney
want-
Plus. I'm not saying put it on. You're forgetting that Disney.
Well, that's where
owns
they're gonna
Hulu.
put it, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Disney owns Hulu. They need to put it on Hulu. That's what I've been saying
Yeah,
this whole time.
yeah.
But Disney does own Hulu. So it's got to go through Disney. You got to go through Disney to get on Hulu.
True.
Okay. But yeah. So like overall, like just unfortunate. I think we've expressed that quite a bit. Something else that is somewhat unfortunate is how this film was presented to Hungary. So in Hungary, trailers for the movie could not mention the name of the main robot, Gypsy Danger, because it was
Oh.
offensive to the Roma, which is a very large ethnic group of the country.
Yeah, I actually wondered because the way they spell it in the movie is not how the
The spelling.
the slur, I mean, the loose slur some people it's more of a slur in other countries than others.
Yeah,
But
over
it's spelled
here-
with
Over here,
it's spelled
point
with
of
an I
pride.
instead of a Y. So I didn't know if like it was because of that controversy.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
For the Hungarian version, the name is spoken freely in the dubbed version, but it's left in English. It's a reference to a type of airplane engine, not the people in question.
Okay, so probably the spelling is the airplane engine.
Yeah. I just thought that was wild, and also because of like saying it so many times and stuff.
Right.
They did go.
Yeah,
On
it's kind of a
subtitle-
new,
I noticed
newly
on the sub-
accepted.
I noticed on the
Mhm.
subtitles they were going back and forth between the spellings.
Oh, my subtitles it
I
was
saw
just
that
an
too.
I, but maybe I wasn't paying attention enough.
Yeah, my subtitles that I had it would go back and forth.
Might have had some type of automatic system that kind of wasn't consistent. Who knows?
This is
Um,
one of my favorites. Del Toro is a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he
Boom.
offered Charlie Day a role in the movie in exchange
Nice.
for a cameo in the show. He appeared as Pappy McPoyle in the Maureen Ponderosa Wedding Massacre.
Oh shit! He's got the
Fucking
bird.
amazing.
I've been
He's the one
waiting
that
for
gets them.
I've
Bring
been
me his
waiting.
eye.
Now I need to rewatch that episode.
Yep.
So fucking good.
Which that episode came out a year before this movie. But the movie
Hell
was
yeah.
in production for a while.
Yeah,
So
the movie was in
confirmed.
production since like 2011, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-year-long production. For the kaiju's roars, they did layer and layer of animal roars and growls, filtered and sped up. But the coolest thing about the kaiju's roars is that they wanted them to have a sense of emotion and intelligence. So both the supervising sound editor, Scott Martin Gershon, and Guillermo del Toro added samples of their own voices to the mix. So when the kaijus are screaming, we're hearing straight Del Toro and also Gershon.
That's pretty fun.
I just like how he
Nice little
includes
information
himself
to
in
have.
weird ways. Was that?
I said that's a good, nice little information to have. That was just a throwaway line.
So if you ever need like a good kaiju noise, just like start doing weird screams and see what it takes.
Already ahead of you.
It was both Guillermo del Toro and the cinematographer Guillermo Navarro's first experience ever shooting with digital cameras. So before this, they were shooting with like analog cameras, like with actual film. Any movie before 2013 for Guillermo.
Oh, that's interesting.
selling out.
Like Hellboy and some of his other ones that are.
Would that be Pan's too?
Yeah, that would be Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pre 2013.
Yeah.
I
I
Yeah,
just
that makes
think
sense
that's
with
cool.
like how Hellboy looks. I really like. I don't know. I definitely feel like I probably do prefer the older style because I mean there's definitely as much as I don't have as much problem with the actual CGI, and I'll get more into it in like my final thoughts. But because like the CGI itself is like the last of my issues. I don't have any issue with that. I think it's melded pretty well, especially with how they use the lighting. But there's definitely there's something about this just kind of like screams of the time of looking at it, and it's sort of just kind of maybe just not even. It's more of a subjective thing, but it's not attractive to me. Not like Hellboy or like well, yeah, Hellboy is really I think the only Guillermo del Toro one I think I would have saw.
which I'm surprised because of a certain someone didn't show you Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, I feel
because
like you
I
have
was
seen
forced
Pan's
to watch it.
Labyrinth, but maybe you don't remember.
Well, I know one of the first times you watched it, I was still a little young, and I was like, "Oh, this movie's too scary," so I wasn't allowed to watch it. And then there's a couple times where we almost watched it, but I don't know, we just didn't have access to it.
Which is crazy.
Maybe
because
that's how it
we
went.
had access to it when we did have we
You
We
didn't
ended
watch
up having-
Kronos? You didn't watch Kronos with me?
I didn't watch Kronos. No,
Okay.
I've seen
wanna
scenes of
watch
it
that.
randomly on Sci-Fi Channel, but
I've never seen
and
it.
We'll have to do.
I've seen the
Pan's Labyrinth
trailer
soon.
of it a lot. Of whatever, I forget. There's a VHS we had that had like a trailer of Kronos. Can't remember what it was though, but I remember always that like all of a sudden it was a different language.
But you got any more production stuff, Starfish? Should we? Should we be
no,
able
I
to
mean-
get into final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just yeah, we could do that. One last thing. Because he's already come up, so he must come up again. Tom Cruise was considered for Idris Elba's role.
I would have checked
Oh,
out.
I did
I would have
see
checked.
that.
I
I
will
would have checked
agree.
right out of
I
his
will
fucking
agree.
mouth.
That would have been that's bad casting right there.
That just-
Tom Cruise
it-
wouldn't have been able to do that.
Unless he's
He
his
would
Tropic
not have been
Thunder
able to
character.
deliver that line.
Not only that,
We're
but Tom
canceling the
Cruise-
Canceling
apocalypse?
the
No fucking
apocalypse.
way.
Unfortunately, being
No.
a Scientologist, you're working with a one-take actor then, because they're not allowed to think about their performances, so they're only allowed to do one take. So
Yeah, well, he gets
it would have
mad.
been
He does get
awful.
mad when he has to do another one.
Oh, you won't get another one. Tom Cruise does not do 2 takes. No Scientologist does. Not a single Scientologist actor does 2 takes. You're making them think, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
I don't actually think that Tom Cruise is a bad actor. I just personally I can't be engaged when he is a lead actor in a film. I just
He's
can't.
not a bad actor. He's just a better Scientologist.
I mean,
wouldn't
he's
even
definitely the
say
most
that.
famous
I wouldn't say
Scientologist.
he's a good Scientologist, but he's a strong one, that's for sure.
I think the only role I
Small.
could think that is like good and unique of his is the Tropic Thunder role.
That one's fun, but he doesn't look like Tom Cruise,
Yeah,
so that
He goes
that
kind of-
helps. And I've seen like the original Top Gun and stuff, and like that's fine. Like I feel like young Tom Cruise for me is fine, but as he gets into like late '90s
It
on, I
really
just like
depends
I
on the
can't with
role.
him.
The role
Yeah.
has to be very
Yeah.
crazy. It has to be very loose. It has to be able to be improv in one.
But
take.
he's also just such generic action star. I know he does his own stunts and blah blah blah, but like all the movies that he's in, I'm just like I don't give a fuck. Like this is boring and stupid.
I think
You
Travolta
should feel
has like
bad.
more. I think Travolta has more bad movies, but I always enjoy Travolta more
Oh, for sure, same.
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
Scientologist actors.
yeah. If I'm gonna have to pick one, I'm going with John,
Travolta.
not Tom.
He's got all those dance moves.
He does. So that last tiny little thing on terms of practical effects too. So when we see the scene with Little Mako, in the alleyway and stuff, they had rigged everything on set to the same hydraulic system. So whenever the monster would take a step and it seemed like everything bounced or shook in unison, that's because it was actually doing that.
That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty awesome. And then that's all. That's really all I got.
Alright.
So for final thoughts, do we want to start with Smokey since we know he's going to be the lowest?
I mean, I think we have to now.
I'll fucking start. I come in swinging. This is gonna be. I don't know if it's my first ever. It might be though. No. Yeah, I think I might have gave The Lighthouse a 1.5. I think I gave it a 1. But this is my first 1 out of 5 for the group. As a group, definitely my first 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5
Oof.
are much rarer than Jeff Goldblum's because I'm disappointed more than I hate a movie.
Yeah, I've never
that's
given a
amazing.
1.
I do not like this movie. I don't fucking like it. The story, it's basic, cliche. Kaiju designs, though they can be unique, they don't. What's bland? I can't say bland because the
Generic?
not generic. They don't have. I guess I want more color, more vibrance to them because they're just gray and blue, and that's it. They
Yeah.
don't really the only color we get is from the baby, and that's more just a purplish bluish hue. So we it's just I'm not really looking at anything that I can vibe with. I'm just looking at like
Mhm.
a chunk of grayness that's shaped into something, which I get that most creatures look actually like that. But if I'm from an
And I think they're connected
interdimensional,
too.
if I want, yeah, they're supposed to be connected, so they have to have some similarity between them. But if I'm from an interdimensional planet, I want to look. I want it to look like it's from an I don't want it to look like it's from Earth. It needs to look otherworldly, and it doesn't look like that. Like one looks like one looks like a gorilla, even though it looks more like a koala to me. But one's supposed to look like a gorilla. That's the leatherback. That's the EMP one. One's supposed to look like a goblin shark. That's the very first one we see. One is very reptilian-like. That's the one that gets pregnant. It wasn't. It's not the zhuzh that I want for my kaiju. I'm a snob when it comes to my kaiju fights. I much rather have the Big Man Japan climax fight of just like very shitty suit just getting pummeled into the fucking ground. That just example the fucking drop kick we got from fucking Super Justice's mom in that fucking movie. Just it's so visceral, and we just don't get that with CGI. I don't get that with CGI. It's too floaty. There's no weight to it. That you can shake the camera all you want. That's not gonna add the weight to me. I need to feel the crunch. I want to feel like someone went, God damn, what the fuck, man? Calm down. It just
Do you feel okay with yourself knowing that you've made Skunt cry?
Oh,
Ooh.
poor
Hey,
Scunner.
if it means that I gotta give it a 1 out of 5, then yes, because I truly only care for Charlie Day. I'm not disappointed with this movie because when I came into this, even when the first time I saw this, I already knew what I was getting. I was getting a bunch of CGI. It's 2013, even though my memory has to serve it at 2012 for me. Don't know how that works. Time crime, I'm gonna say. But
Time crime.
it's just not I mean, all the actors are good actors, but not. They've done way better movies than this. It just not saying the directing was bad. It's just not my film. It's just not for me. It's just not my kaiju kind of movie. If I just want a bunch of rubber suits, a bunch of spandex, and a bunch of little models being destroyed. That's all I care about. Death Kappa came out 3 years later, and it will never be topped. 3 years before, I mean. 3 years before this, not later. My bad. But yeah, Death Kappa came out 3 years before this, and it shows that it's still the best kaiju. So yeah, 1 out of 5 for Pacific Rim.
Well, you have canceled Pacific Rim at a 1.
Sorry.
Wah, wah.
Who's going next?
I'll go ahead and lay down my final thoughts. So, as fans of the show Pod may know, I tend to be pretty critical towards things, and I will say that this movie it has a lot of criticisms leveled at it, both by Smokey and by others, and I think that all of those are valid. But I genuinely enjoyed watching this. There were times where I was like out of my seat with like, there's no way they're gonna do like they can't do that. My biggest problem I had with it, and I know it's because they're huge, and like Del Toro was very insistent on making sure that you felt that this, uh, that the mechs were huge, is that like there were just times where the mechs would like swing, and it was just so slow, and I don't know, do better. Like I don't know. I wanted it to be a little bit faster. I understand like it's a huge like mechanical arm. It's gonna swing slow, but like be full of weight and stuff. Um, the one thing that like got me the most was in the fight with the two with the drop bear and the Otashi. There's a scene where the Australian one like picks up the Otashi and like throws it, and it's like, I'm wanting it to be this like epic, like hurling it back into the sea and stuff, and it's not that. It's just like kind of throwing this like weird lizardy kind of squid looking thing like gently back into the bay. And it just it made me laugh because of its ridiculousness. Um, but that is something that this movie just does not stop delivering on. If you're looking for drama and narrative and character building, and don't look here. However, if you're looking for, you know, a semi decent way to spend 2+ hours, I think this is an okay pick for that. Um, if you're I did like this, but I feel like I'm very middle of the road here, between like having moments of like hilarity, and moments of like enthrallment, especially with some of the kaiju fights. Like I thought that some of them were done like really well, some of them done not so well. The one with the wings, the one that just like flies, where they get their sword like level up, which we didn't mention in the plot synopsis, but that was really cool. um, so I don't know, but I was also mad because it's like they had a sword the whole time. Why couldn't they have used the sword? So it's kind of a lot of that where it's like, oh, this is really cool, but like if you've always had this, why weren't you using that to begin with? Kind of stuff like that with this film. Um, Personally, the CGI doesn't super offend me. There are times where it's mildly, mildly rough, but it's not super offensive by any means. For my own opinion on that, so I'm gonna land with a solid 2.5 out of 5 for this one.
Cool. I guess I'll go ahead and go fill the gap of silence. Um,
Yeah.
I think I am also landing right in the middle. Um, I wasn't at all offended by the CGI, but I don't really care about that stuff unless it's just really awful. Um, what what I did like, I liked the monster fights in the ocean. I really did like when all the Jaegers were fighting the two kaijus. I thought that was a really good action scene. Um, I liked the scene of like the flashback for Mako. I thought that scene was pretty effective. That little Japanese actor was really good. She's like, I wasn't really caring about that character until I saw that. I like that. Some of the stuff I didn't like, I felt the dialogue was very rough and
Mhm.
tropey and kind of trite. Like it's stuff that we've heard in movies like word for word before, and that always bothers me when we can't really think of anything original to say or we don't deviate from tropes at all. I get very bothered by that. I don't want to go on a tangent, but like even like the newer Stranger Things season, I was getting really pissed of all the oh, she's a hero. Like I was like, let's shut this down.
Yeah.
So I was I didn't like that. I didn't like in the end when both what's his name? Raleigh and Mako are in the Pod's like she gets like damsel in distress and saved. I didn't like that. I think that they should have killed Raleigh. I think it would
Yeah.
have been more effective. I think
Yeah.
I know that they were probably relying on there being like a quicker sequel than they got, so maybe they didn't want to kill the main character. But I think even if they did and there was a quick sequel, they could have brought him back through like the drift and through like memories and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I thought it was like I never feared for any of the characters because I didn't care for any of them.
Hmm.
Really, there wasn't really didn't care. I know that there was about an hour cut from this movie that was pretty much all
Oh, jeez.
character development. Um, and I don't know if I want to see it, but maybe if I saw it, I would like the characters more because I don't know, there was no memorable or likable characters besides Charlie Day, but pretty much just because he's Charlie Day. I almost
Yep.
wanted like a movie. I wanted the Charlie Day storyline in a movie more than I wanted Raleigh's storyline. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so but I did like a lot of the fight scenes. I thought they were really good. Um, I thought it was interesting, like showing the Charlie Day parts with drifting with the kaiju. That would have been cool to elaborate on. There was some mention of like a kaiju cult. I was like, please tell me that story.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to know. So this movie did some cool things, but overall, I was getting a little disappointed in the tropiness of it. But all the visuals were really good, like very strong for me. So that is why I'm landing right in the center with the 2.5.
Okay, I
Alrighty.
think I will go after that one.
Yeah.
Mostly because you brought up a lot of points that made me kind of reflect on how I viewed this movie. So as far as your like cookie cutter kind of like blockbuster film, like just popcorn movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Del Toro was trying to do here with the dialogue, with the kind of like the quick exposition. Like, you don't get a lot of time with these characters. You're absolutely right. They're not terribly likable. They're kind of stock characters. And I think that may have been a little bit on like by design to give you kind of like a Top Gunny kind of feel to it, because the only one in that movie that you care about is Goose, and that's kind of your Charlie Day. You know, even though I feel y'all are being mad disrespectful to my boy Herman, he was just as good, and he's getting no love. Herman's getting no love.
I don't know him from anything to like him. Like
I've seen him in I've seen him do much better stuff than what he was doing in this. He was phoning this in.
I didn't think he was
In
very
my
necessary.
Fair enough. But yeah, I thought for the most part the performances were doing what they were asked to do, essentially. Like it seemed like this movie was kind of just like Del Toro's take on what like the big blockbuster is supposed to be. Sort of like how, Crimson Peak is kind of his take on the Gothic romance and things like that. Like Pan's Labyrinth is his Alice in Wonderland. So I didn't really bump into the cheesy dialogue and stuff so much, because I felt that's what he was going for.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Like you guys said, I personally think the visuals look pretty stunning. I think they still hold up really well. And I like the world that we were kind of introduced to, even though, it doesn't seem like they're going to do anything with that. Like I said, the sequel's really bad. So I don't think they'll ever revisit Pacific Rim again.
Did they
But-
get more of the alien world in that movie?
They do more drifting stuff with Charlie Day's character,
Oh,
so you kind of get more of an idea of like the breach and all that kind of stuff, and like
I mean,
it
since-
gets a little more hollowed earthy,
ooh.
you know.
Just so you know,
Agartha.
we will have to review it since we reviewed the first one. We're not gonna.
Okay, I mean-
Oh,
Well,
Okay, we've got
then we're
here.
doing it. But yeah, so I still really enjoyed it, even though it had been a couple years since I had seen it, and I had just watched it like 3 days ago, or so. Yeah,
oh.
yeah, like 3 days ago, again, and I still really, really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna land on a 3.5, like a 3.5.
Nice. We
Right on.
needed some more positivity.
Yeah, definitely did.
I definitely should have gone less because I got a few things that I want to add. The green screen was terrible, and the slow sweeping swing starfish. Some of those are probably for the 3D. Like some of those were probably placed in there for the 3D effect.
So are you lowering your rating from a 1?
No, those are just some of the nitpicks that I have that add to it.
He just wants you to
Oh, you didn't-
absolutely
you didn't like
unequivocally
it?
know it's a 1.
You didn't like it? I thought I thought this was your favorite.
But
All right, Spooch.
yes, it's your turn,
Mhm.
Spooch.
Yes, he is. I think my rating actually went up a little bit because honestly, a lot of the production stuff is real interesting, and the practical effects that we do get are very striking and kind of bring me back to the kind of like Hellboy a little bit, just with how Guillermo makes everything look so moist.
Yeah, he does a good job
That
of keeping
baby
it wet.
kaiju looked very moist.
Very moist. But and the design of the kaiju were, though I did like them, I think they were necessary. But again, it was kind of hard to differentiate a lot of them, other than like the one bug one in the memory in the drift
Oh, the
Mako.
Mm.
the lobstrosity.
Yeah, the lobstrosity. Like that was really
Yeah,
one that I could
lobstrosity.
really I could probably like draw a little bit more accurately. The other ones are a little hard. Like they all look like each other, but in varying forms.
Yeah.
But and I understand, they're supposed to be connected. They're part of like the same species, I guess. But it does make it a little hard. It kind of, what I find is a lot of the issues with like a lot of video games when they make like mob characters and they all kind of just meld together into
Yeah.
kind of the same general thing. Maybe you'll get 3 general types of them, but they're all just reskins of the other ones. But so it's hard really for me to even like pick a favorite of any of these either with the kaiju, which I feel like is an important thing to nerd out on a kaiju with its design. The design of kaiju is a very important thing to me.
Big
I
man
like them to be very
Japan.
striking and unique.
Big man Japan spoiled us.
Yes, Big Man Japan, and then of course like there's some Godzilla ones and Ultraman ones that are just so unique and striking, for better and for worse sometimes.
Right, they've designed a bunch of Pokemon based off of some of those old Ultraman and Godzilla
Oh yeah,
movies.
definitely. Nidoking, Baragon, Tyranitar,
Right.
Godzilla. Decent amount of
Volcarona,
that.
Mothra, yeah.
Oh yeah. But the CGI, even like it's dark most of the time, I kind of like that aesthetic. It, again, like Hellboy is a very dark movie. I think does it right. Though I do think after learning, maybe it's something that I think was the problem. I don't fully know because I'm not like I don't have the best eye, but definitely just the overall like I think it is the digital, like them shooting on the digital that just kind of like makes it a little bit lifeless. Because when I think of just the like Hellboy, I feel like there's like almost a little bit of a slight film grain to it. I don't know, that just kind of adds to it. And
Yeah,
maybe
there's a grit
this
to
one's
it.
too
I agree
clean.
with that. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's like small points, but mainly my big issue is probably with the characters. I don't think the characters were very strong at all, especially the main Jaegers. Any of the Jaegers that seemed interesting to me, we didn't get anything. I mean, I don't think like the Russian characters were gonna be like super great characters, but they seemed like they would have been fun. They seemed kind of like they could have been some fun assholes to like.
You mean you didn't love Little Australia?
No, I did not. I
That
didn't get
guy.
what his problem was. And he's like, they keep talking about how, oh, it's a dysfunctional relationship with his father, but his father seems like so supporting.
Spooge, you know what their problem was.
Unrequited love.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't get their smoko.
You didn't get. They didn't have.
Leave me
smokers
alone!
anymore.
Fuckers didn't get. Gotta let them have the smoko.
Probably illegal at this point. It's a like technologically advanced society. They're like, oh, I gotta get rid of smoking. That's probably why he's pissed. But no one really grabbed me. I mean, Charlie was fun, but I wish there was a little bit more to his character. I mean, like, I wish we got a little bit more of him. I didn't think
was
the
a
other
doctor.
doctor.
He was
I didn't think the other doctor did much other than like, I guess, to just to bounce off of him now and then. But he didn't really. I didn't feel like he really helped. I guess he like added some math stuff to it, but I don't know. I feel like it just. I think it would be if we just got more Charlie and more Ron Perlman. I think if they're a little bit more of the main characters, and then you had all the Jaegers that got maybe some smaller equal time, they could be like assholes to Charlie, and everyone's not taking him seriously because he's crazy or something. Maybe that would have been cooler, but of course, that's me rewriting the film, so just maybes. I don't know how much weight that has, but. And also, just the time. I think it was about hour 30 minutes in this that I was kind of fed up. I kind of just wanted it to get to a final fight. It was it dragged on for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a little bit bland. But there's definitely a lot more that I thought. That I actually expected that a lower rating, like watching this, because I've seen this before casually, and I remember it not grabbing me at all, and it being kind of boring to me. But I'll give it a 2 out of 5, because there's some interesting visuals in it, and I didn't exactly like the slow sluggy fighting either, but I don't think it being faster would have actually like looked good. That would have been harder to. It would have probably been ridiculous. Maybe for better or for worse, we don't know. So yeah,
would have definitely
2
got
out of 5.
some. Would have got some. I'm the only one that would understand this probably, but we definitely would have got some Naruto versus Pain moments.
Yeah,
rough.
I mean, what's the Godzilla? What was it? Godzilla Strikes Again or whatever? What's the second one? When he fights Anguirus, like that fight's really
Godzilla Raids
janky because
Again.
of how fast it is. Yeah, Godzilla Raids Again. That's a janky ass fight because it's like they speed it up too, and it just like slapping around.
But that added a little charm to it, in my opinion. It
did.
It added a little
It was funny.
goofiness to it.
But then like it finished really quick, and then we never had anything like that, and it was just a boring film for the rest of it.
True.
But yeah, so that's my thought.
All right. Does anybody got anything else to add before I go into the outro?
I just
No.
have my
Nope.
my last quote that I normally do.
All right.
Charles Hunnam, is that his name? Isn't a good actor either. I mean, he's definitely the weakest point in this.
No, he's not. But like he's like notoriously bad at accents, and he keeps trying to do them, which I think is hilarious.
He does the same
Like-
like a strange stoner voice he did for Jax Taylor in Sons of Anarchy in this, and except I feel like he does it a lot worse in this.
All right. If you've been listening to us this long, watching the video, thank you so much. Please leave a like, comment what you think about the movie in the comment section. Share the video around, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Do you want to give your socials, Omi, again?
Sure, yeah. You guys can check me out on Instagram under Flamebird42 and on TikTok as the Reading Rainbow. I took too many shots when we were talking about specific. Where I do comic book recommendations and stuff. So if you're looking for something cool to read, yeah, come check me out.
All right. Does anybody have a sign off? I feel like I fucked this outro up.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's fine.
You fucked it up by saying you fucked it up.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's true. You should have just rolled with it.
Confidence.
Pick option 1 or 2, somebody.
2.
2, okay. Now, you and I are the only thing standing between that ugly bastard and the city of 2 million people. Now, we have a choice here. We either sit and wait, or we take these flare guns and do something really stupid.
Is that
Your boy-
little Australia?
Nope, that's big Australia.
That's Daddy
Oh.
Australia.
Daddy.
The better.
If
The
you had
better
chose
Australia.
number 1, we would have read the "Today we are canceling the apocalypse" line.
Oh, I think we gave that line a lot of air time.
Yeah, we did.
Well, so did the film.
Yeah,
And
you're
all
too.
the like promos and trailers.
All the promos, yeah.
Well, my sign off, I'm just gonna go have a smoko with Skunt. Catch me there.
Smoko.
Omi, Spooge.
Oh, for like a clever sign off? Damn it, I was not prepared for this.
It doesn't have to. We're never actually that clever, you know. It's all right.
I normally just do the quotes from the film normally because it's easy. That's why I do
Makes-
them.
I just wanted to say Skunt again. So you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, plot holes. See y'all next time.
See ya.
Spooge, you got one?
Biotech is Godzilla.
Oh yeah, it's classic Sepultura line. Classic Sepultura W.
Hell yeah.
Australian Daddy. I want Donut Daddy. See you next time, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Boy. Is that Homer?
Yeah, I'm assuming he meant Homer.
This is not pee, by the way. This is water.
Sure.
And now I am stopping the recording.
Where is my goddamn shoe?